Inside the mind of three horror movie icons. Introduction. What drives the monsters that have haunted our nightmares for decades? Behind the masks of cinema's most terrifying killers lie twisted psychologies so disturbing that understanding them may be more frightening than the films themselves. We're about to peel back the layers of three iconic horror villains, revealing the true horrors that inspired their creation, and the shocking reality that perhaps the most disturbing aspects never made it to the screen. Norman Bates, the mother of all psychopaths. The chilling genius of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho 1960 wasn't just in its shower scene, but in creating cinema's first truly psychological monster. Norman Bates wasn't supernatural. He was something far more terrifying, a fractured mind hiding in plain sight. But what many fans don't realize is just how accurately Hitchcock's villain mirrored his real-life inspiration. Ed Gein, the Wisconsin grave robber and murderer who inspired Norman, didn't just preserve his mother's bedroom after her death like in the film. The reality was far more disturbing. Investigators found furniture made from human skin and bones, a vest created from a woman's torso, and masks crafted from facial skin. Hitchcock deliberately toned down these elements, understanding that the mere suggestion of Norman's fractured psyche would resonate more deeply than explicit gore. Anthony Perkins brought an unsettling authenticity to Norman that few realize was partially drawn from his own struggles. The actor's complex relationship with his own domineering mother and his intensely private personal life informed the character's awkward mannerisms and boyish charm. Perkins became so identified with the role that it haunted his career, with the actor once lamenting, "I've been Norman Bates longer than I've been Anthony Perkins." The most chilling aspect of Norman Bates isn't the murders themselves. It's that his fractured personality represents the ultimate fear of losing control over our own minds. The final scene, where Norman's mother's personality completely takes over as he sits wrapped in a blanket, her voice narrating his thoughts, reveals the hook's payoff. The most frightening monster isn't the one hiding under your bed, but the one potentially hiding within your own psychology. Hannibal Lecter, the refined face of evil. When Thomas Harris introduced Dr. Hannibal Lecter to the world, he created something unprecedented, a monster we couldn't help but admire. But what drives a brilliant psychiatrist to become a cannibalistic serial killer? The hooks run deeper than most fans realize. Harris famously remained secretive about his inspirations, but investigative journalists have uncovered several disturbing real-life influences. The character's sophisticated tastes and surgical precision appear partly inspired by Dr. Alfredo Bali Trevino, a Mexican doctor convicted of murdering and dismembering his lover. Harris met him while researching another criminal, never realizing he was interviewing a killer until later. Perhaps more chilling is the influence of real-life serial killer Albert Fish, whose educated demeanor and detailed letters about his crimes echo Lecter's articulate monstrosity. Anthony Hopkins' portrayal in The Silence of the Lambs 1991 became iconic for its restraint. With just 16 minutes of screen time, Hopkins creates an indelible monster through subtle gestures, the unnaturally still posture, unblinking stare, and precisely measured speech patterns. Hopkins revealed he based these mannerisms on watching predatory animals and combining them with the formal politeness of Katharine Hepburn's vocal cadence, creating a predator who stalks with words rather than movement. The true horror of Hannibal Lecter fulfills our opening hook. He forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that evil doesn't always wear a monster's face. Instead, it can appear cultured, intelligent, and even charismatic. His ability to understand humans so completely, while viewing them merely as prey, represents our deepest fear, that empathy and monstrosity can coexist behind the same sophisticated smile. Michael Myers, the shape of primal fear. When John Carpenter created Michael Myers for Halloween 1978, he stripped the slasher villain down to its barest elements: a blank mask, a kitchen knife, and an inexplicable drive to kill. But what truly lurks behind the expressionless white face that launched 1,000 nightmares? The answer is more disturbing than most fans realize. Carpenter named Myers' character The Shape in the original screenplay, a deliberate choice suggesting he's less a person than an embodiment of formless evil. This concept was partially inspired by Celtic traditions surrounding Samhain, the precursor to Halloween, where the boundary between worlds thinned, allowing malevolent entities to cross over. Carpenter's stroke of genius was combining ancient fears with modern suburban anxiety. Michael becomes the formless dread that can penetrate even seemingly safe neighborhoods. The blank white mask itself holds secrets few viewers recognize. It's famously a modified William Shatner Star Trek mask, but the alteration process removed all specific human characteristics. Actor Nick Castle, who portrayed Myers in much of the original film, developed a distinctive, measured walking style that deliberately avoided human mannerisms. He wasn't playing a character but embodying the concept of inevitable patient death itself. The most disturbing aspect of Michael Myers, and the payoff to our hook, is how he weaponizes our inability to understand him. Dr. Loomis's famous line, "I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding. Even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, good or evil, right or wrong, reveals the monster's true power." Michael frightens us because he represents the limits of human comprehension, a violence without motive, a malevolence without origin, and therefore impossible to truly defeat. Conclusion. What binds these three monsters together, the fractured mind, the sophisticated predator, and the embodiment of formless dread, is how they each represent a different facet of humanity's deepest fears. Norman Bates shows us the horror of losing control over our own minds. Hannibal Lecter forces us to recognize evil can wear a cultured facade, and Michael Myers confronts us with the terror of that which cannot be understood or reasoned with. Tabi, most disturbing revelation, as promised in our introduction, is that the true power of these villains lies not in their fictional brutality, but in how they continue to evolve in our collective psyche. They endure because they tap into primal fears that never age. The monsters we create on screen will always reflect the darkness we sense within ourselves and our society. Perhaps that's the ultimate horror. Not that these killers might be lurking outside our doors, but that elements of their twisted psychologies already exist within the darkest corners of the human mind.